Hello everyone and welcome to GodSaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling video podcast. I am running over here on youtube.com and it is time to be doing some predictions once again. We've got another pay-per-view coming up. It is Clash of Champions this Sunday. Of course, this is being run at the Amway Center or the WWE Thunderdome, whatever, however you really want to call that place at this point. Looking at this pay-per-view as it is, with the exception maybe on Smackdown side, which I feel like they've had a little bit better of a build than maybe Raw's side on this one. But then again, we've seen what's been going on with Retribution and a lot of other things, especially the tag divisions on all ends. The builds towards the tag division matches, not so good, and obviously in certain other cases we're seeing some decent builds in the terms of feuds elsewhere with some of these other title matches. But in one case, which we'll talk about a little bit later, they're kind of building feuds that aren't related to the match itself, so it makes it for a very interesting area of where they're going to be with many of these different matches. But we're going to go ahead and start off with the kickoff show match. It is going to be for the Raw Women's title. It is going to be Asuka going up against Zelina Vega. This match was basically made within the last 2 weeks with the ending of the Mickie James Asuka match, and Zelina Vega coming out afterwards to confront Asuka. You were kind of assuming that Zelina Vega would go get a shot at the title with the fact that she slapped Asuka and everything like that, and kind of out of nowhere as well, because it seems like she's distancing herself from Andrade and Angel Garza, which we'll get into that one here in a little bit as well, because they have been fighting, but they're together, but they're fighting again, but they're together, now they're back fighting, now they're back together again. And yeah, that situation's weird. But Zelina Vega won a match against Mickie James. They had a number one contendership match, and she won that, and is going to get the title shot on Sunday. I really not much to this. It seems like that maybe they're going to be pushing Zelina Vega into a singles role, but I don't see them putting that title on her right away. No real reason to put that title on her, so I'm going to go with Asuka in this one. Up next, this brings us to the Raw Tag Team title match. It is going to be the Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza. Again, this is they've done so many matches recently. They have done so many matches recently that it's like, why are they doing it now? Especially the fact that it seemed like Zelina Vega split up from them. Also, Garza and Andrade have been fighting, and Garza's ditched them a couple of times, and they've been fighting around. Now they're back together, and they're getting another tag team title shot. Oh man, I just don't know with this one. I really don't know with this one. Okay, they're giving, unless they're just having some other plan for the Street Profits, or they're going to be doing something else down the line, which this would have been a perfect opportunity with what they've been doing with the tag division, especially with splitting up so many teams, to maybe even potentially unify these titles, which we'll talk about the Smackdown tag titles here in a moment as well. But as for this Raw tag team title match, I mean, you could simply say the Street Profits, but I have a feeling if you're putting them in there, you got to give them something at some point in time. So I'm going to go with Andrade and Angel Garza. I could see it happening, but it's not a pick that I'm like super confident in. But they've done this match so many times, and the Street Profits tend to usually get the better of them. It's probably time for Garza and Andrade to pick up a victory. So I'm gonna go with Angel Garza and Andrade for this one. Now this is going to actually bring us to the Smackdown Tag Team Championship match. It is Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro versus Lucha House Party. And again, this one's been a little bit briefer of a dissension between the Lucha House Party at this point, with Kalisto and Lince Dorado. I believe in this match it is going to be Kalisto and Gran Metalik going up against Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. This is definitely something I feel like is not really going to be given to the Lucha House Party. It seems like their dissension had just kind of started, and it's been building, and this is probably going to be the thing that causes more dissension between them, if not causes the split up of the team itself. So I'm going to go with Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro in this match. I don't necessarily see the SmackDown Tag Team titles changing hands. I do see titles potentially changing hands tonight, or on that night, but I'm not really calling for too many of them at this point. Just saying at this point in time. So up next is going to be the Women's Tag Team Championship match. It is going to be, of course, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, the Women's Tag Team Champions, going up against the Riot Squad. And honestly, I feel like this is maybe not at this point in time, because I'm not going to pick them here, but this is kind of the story for the Riot Squad, that it's going to culminate with them probably winning those women's tag team titles. Just not on this night. I feel like they've just started this team with Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. They could hotshot it so they could start a feud between the two of them. That is always a possibility, but I don't see it ending this quickly after they got those titles off of Sasha Banks and Bayley during the last pay-per-view event. So I am going to go with Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax in this match, but I do feel like at some point in time, this is going to eventually lead to the Riot Squad picking up a victory and getting those tag team titles. Just not on this night. Now, this brings us to the United States Championship match. It is Bobby Lashley going up against Apollo Crews. Yes, Bobby Lashley just picked up that United States title not too long ago off of Apollo Crews. This is the rematch for that one. I don't really see too much different with this. The Hurt Business is kind of split. I won't say splitting, but they're kind of in this weird where face is in one area but where heels in the other. Like in this situation, they're the heels with Cedric Alexander turning on Apollo and Ricochet, but then they have this stuff with Retribution, which, oh boy, I wonder if this is where Retribution's going to get involved, because the Hurt Business has been the most involved with Retribution at this point in time. So I have a feeling if they're going to do anything with Retribution on the pay-per-view itself, this is going to be the spot that they're going to do it. But I don't see it causing a United States Championship change again. So I am going to go with Bobby Lashley keeping that United States title in this match. Now, this brings us to the ladder match, which is for the Intercontinental title. It is Jeff Hardy going up against AJ Styles, going up against Sami Zayn. This match was made by Jeff Hardy. Basically, he got sick and tired of AJ Styles saying he should be the rightful Intercontinental champion. He's getting sick and tired of Sami Zayn, who came back, never lost the Intercontinental title, so has a point of wanting to have a match for it. But Jeff Hardy's just kind of sick of it, so he was like, yeah, you know what, ladder match, all three of us, let's do this. I feel like this is a spot where they can kind of hot potato the title off of Jeff Hardy on this one. I don't necessarily see him keeping it here. I don't actually see this one going to AJ Styles as well, though. I feel like that maybe they have something more with AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy down the line, but it won't necessarily be with the Intercontinental title. I'm actually going to go with Sami Zayn on this one. The reason I'm going with Sami on this one is, yes, he did just come back. People are going to be wondering whether or not that they're going to be trying to punish Sami Zayn for what he had for leaving or anything like that. Rightfully so, by the way, or about 5 months ago, leaving. But there's always that worry in there. But I don't think that's actually going to be the case here. It makes a lot of sense for him to come back in and maybe even sneakily win this match, because it seemed like for the most part, until Sami Zayn interjected himself, the Intercontinental title was based around AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy. So why not have him be the one who actually pulls out the victory in this one, and maybe AJ and Jeff can continue on their feud elsewhere, but then you have Sami Zayn as the Intercontinental champion. So my pick is going to be Sami Zayn. Up next, we have the Smackdown Women's Championship match. It is going to be Bayley going up against Nikki Cross. And, you know, they're doing this match yet again. They did this match a few times. They actually did this match about 3 times over the summer before this particular one at Night of Champions. I see this match as being nothing more than kind of a filler before we get to the Sasha Banks Bayley feud. And I'm not one of those that thinks that that match itself is above the title. Actually, I feel like the title for that feud with Banks and Bayley is a necessity based off of what they've been talking about, because everything that they have done, like you know, being the golden role models, Bayley Doe straps, 2 belts Banks, everything like that they were doing, it was all revolved around titles. So they definitely need, I feel like they definitely need the title in this particular case. Now, could they have a feud down the line, or could they have matches down the line where the title's not involved? Absolutely. But in the first matchup, at the least, between the two of them, whenever it does happen, whether it happens at Hell in a Cell the following month, or if they really play the long game with it and find a way to build it to WrestleMania, Bayley has to have that SmackDown Women's title. And of course, you do have the aspect of Alexa Bliss and the Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss stuff in there, which I am going to expect is going to further in this one the continuation of Alexa Bliss being controlled by the Fiend, or whenever you say the Fiend, she kind of trances or anything like that. I see a little bit furthering of that at this point in time, and that's where Nikki's going to be going down the line. She's got a storyline built in place to go for after this match, but Bayley picks up the victory in this one. Now, this is going to bring us to the WWE title match. It is going to be Drew McIntyre going up against Randy Orton. And it's an ambulance match, because why not? Actually, they do have a kind of a reason for that one, because Drew McIntyre got taken out with 3 punt kicks after SummerSlam, went out in an ambulance. Then he returned the favor to Randy Orton. It does actually make sense for them to do an ambulance match in here. I'm not always the biggest fan of ambulance matches, but it's definitely going to be an interesting match, to say the least. And oddly enough, I feel like this is going to be the time that maybe they can pull that title off of Drew McIntyre and see if he gets it for a later time or anything like that. But I'm actually going to be picking Randy Orton in this one. I feel like Randy Orton's going to pick up the title on this. He can win the match in a way that's not going to hurt Drew McIntyre, because he's not going to take a pinfall or a submission. He could just accidentally get thrown into the ambulance in some way, or, you know, try doing a Claymore kick and he gets sent in. There's a lot of different ways that they could go about doing this, and it won't necessarily hurt Drew McIntyre. So I'm actually going to go with Randy Orton, and he's going to pick up the WWE title. And oddly enough, he does have a ready-made title match if he's not going to do another one with Drew McIntyre right afterwards with Keith Lee, because guess what, at Payback, that clean victory that Keith Lee got over Randy Orton probably puts him in line for a title shot after this match. So that may be the route that they go afterwards. I don't know if they would put the title on Keith Lee so quickly as well to go along with it. I highly doubt that. But I could see him with that title at some point down the line. But they do have a ready-made feud. Actually, they technically have a ready-made feud with either one of them after this match, because Drew McIntyre has definitely had some issues with Keith Lee recently as well. So, and their matches have always ended inconclusively, which, you know, say what you will about the about DQ finishes on Raw, SmackDown, or anything like that. It's like they're trying to keep them strong. It's like, yeah, you can make the argument. It's like, why book the match then? You're absolutely right on that. But, you know, they're trying to keep them strong, and we'll see where they end up going with this. But I am going to go with Randy Orton in this match. All right, and this is going to bring us to the final match of the night. It is going to be Roman Reigns going up against Jey Uso for the Universal title. Jey Uso picked up this in a fatal 4-way match that he replaced Big E in, because Sheamus had taken out Big E that night. He was taken out in an ambulance. So Jey Uso ends up picking up the victory. They've been doing this little thing where Roman's kind of I wouldn't say disinterested. He's just not having any of what's going on. He's trying to play it up to Jey Uso. It's like, oh, it's just gonna be friendly competition. It's just gonna be friendly competition. And then you get these scowls once Jey Uso turns his back to Roman at that point. And I feel like this is gonna be nothing more than a squash match. If it's done any other way, I don't think it's gonna be an. It's like it needs to actually be a squash match on this one. If you're really going to solidify Roman as a heel, you go squash match on this one. You can't just have it be a full-on competitive affair. Now, maybe they do have aspirations for Jey Uso as a singles competitor until his brother comes back. I don't know. On this, but based off of like what they've been doing with this one, the family ties, everything to go along with that, maybe this is kind of Roman turning his back to the family, to his family members within the company. This one needs to actually just be a squash, and Roman Reigns is going to pick up the victory on this one. I do not see them doing much more than that with this particular one. I feel like this match was essentially made to make Roman a bigger heel at this point. So yeah, it's got to be Roman. There's no real other way of going about that with this one. And that is all the matches that I do have that is all the matches for WWE's Clash of Champions. So with that being said, everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed the content that you have been seeing recently on this channel. Also my gaming channel, which a link is down in the description as well. And with that being said, take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great rest of your day.